Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy, Bengaluru. This is daily news analysis session. In this session, as usual, we'll be discussing some 6 to 7 important articles from UPSC prelims, mains, as well as interview perspective. So the first article for 31st January 2025, it's already a 1 month down in 2025 and the prelims is gearing up. So you better start your preparation and you better ramp up your preparation as soon as possible. Okay, so the first article for the day is an editorial from the Hindu which talks about an opportunity to settle Sri Lanka's ethnic problem. Okay, so in introduction, it talks about strengthening bilateral ties between India and Sri Lanka. Recently, India's decision to name the Jaffna Cultural Center after Tamil poet philosopher Thiruvalluvar is seen as a symbolic move to reinforce its ties with Sri Lanka. The Jaffna Cultural Center is present in is present in Sri Lanka. It is now renamed after Thiruvalluvar in Sri Lanka. This correction follows earlier concerns over omitting Jaffna from the center's name, which had caused agitation among Sri Lankan Tamils. Okay, now, so historical context, what has been India's role in Sri Lanka's ethnic issue? Over the past 40 years, India's involvement in Sri Lanka's ethnic politics has evolved over the time. Initially, India played both a mediator and an active participant, especially during the signing of Indo-Lanka Accord of 1987 and the subsequent 13th Amendment to Sri Lanka's constitution, which introduced provincial councils to grant limited autonomy. Okay, with this, the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Army, that is LTT, led by Prabhakaran, opposed the accord and the amendment as they were seen as Indian impositions. Okay, the LTT's demand for a separate Tamil state, or also called as Elam, in the northern and eastern provinces were never accepted by India and as well as by Sri Lanka. Okay, then, so what about India's stance on the 13th Amendment? Despite being in place for over 3 decades, the 13A has not been fully implemented, particularly in devolving land and police powers to the provincial councils. Successive Sri Lankan governments, especially under the Sinhala majority leaderships, have been reluctant to grant the full autonomy to these provinces. During the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent meeting with Sri Lankan opposition leader Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, there was no clear reference to 13A, raising concerns about India's shifting stance on the issue. Okay, India is not for supporting the plight of Tamil or Sri Lankan Tamils as it is pursued by the Sri Lankan Tamils, because they are moving away from Article 13A, Amendment 13A. However, Modi did emphasize need for the full implementation of Sri Lanka's constitution and provincial council elections. The JVP's opposition to provincial councils. The JVP, that is Janata Vimukti Peramuna, is a key political party in Sri Lanka and part of the ruling National People's Power Coalition. It has historically opposed provincial councils because this Janata Vimukti Peramuna sees them as a creation of India, a redundant layer for governance, a potential enabler for separatism. Okay, so they are not in support of this one. Despite the concerns, the Sri Lankan Supreme Court ruled that merger of northern and eastern provinces was invalid, further complicating Tamil's aspiration for a unified autonomous region. Okay, so there are, if this is Sri Lanka in northern and in southern, the popularity or population is mainly by Tamils. They want these provinces to be brought together, the Tamils, but it is not easy to bring them together. This was also held by the Sri Lankan Supreme Court as well. So local bodies versus provincial councils. The Sri Lankan government has urged that local bodies such as municipalities and district councils could replace the provincial councils. However, this argument is flawed because local bodies lack legislative and financial power. Other countries with a decentralization model prove that a strong provincial autonomy is essential for effective governance. Okay, so that is why it is flawed. So now the political and electoral challenges. The Sri Lanka's unitary structure, which was enshrined in 1972 and 1978 constitutions, limits devolution despite the 13th Amendment. The political climate remains uncertain, and Sinhala nationalist parties oppose devolution, that is from the center to provinces, fearing the division of the country. The Tamil political leadership continues to demand for more autonomy. So, upcoming elections, that is in 2025, may shape the future of governance and Tamil representation. So, now there is a crucial opportunity, that is, Sri Lanka has a rare opportunity to resolve its long-standing ethnic tensions through constitutional reforms and devolution of power. With the JVP gaining popularity, it is unclear whether its anti-devolution stance will impact the 13 years future. Nevertheless, a genuine political commitment is necessary to address the historical grievances of Tamils and strengthen Sri Lanka's national unity. We have to wait and see how it is going to unfold. In this aspect, both India and Sri Lanka have equal role to play in settling this ethnic issue. Then, second article is about the science is clear, the crowd disasters are preventable. Okay, it is from the Hindu editorial again. It talks about a preventable tragedy, that is crowd disaster or stampede. This article highlights a deadly crowd rush at the Mahakumbh in India where 30 people were killed. The writer, who is Tracy Hesco Pearl, expresses sorrow over the loss of life and emphasizes that such disasters are almost entirely preventable. Okay, so she talks about how you can entirely prevent this stampede or crowd disasters. In that aspect, the first factor we have to consider is crowd density. That is, crowd disasters primarily occur due to high crowd density. Studies shows that at 5 persons per square meter there are risks of injuries. You can remember this. According to a study, 5 persons per square meter is considered risk of injury. At 7 persons per square meter or more, the likelihood of death or serious injury is very high. The physical space around the crowd is critical. If the movement is restricted, density can increase rapidly, leading to deadly consequences. Okay, 5 persons per square meter, then there are likelihood chances of higher injuries. If it is 7 persons per square meter, then it is most likely to lead to death. Okay, therefore the space around individuals is very important, because many of the times, more than the physical injuries, it is the suffocation that leads to death during the stampede. Okay, so preliminary reports from the Mahakumbh suggest that a large crowd was compressed against a barrier, creating a dangerous situation. Okay, if it is between the people and people, they can push around the people, but if it is people against the barrier, they cannot push the barrier against. Okay, so it is a very dangerous situation. So here they talk about global incidents, which is a recurring problem at the moment. It is not only that India is suffering, many other places around the world have also been subjected to are experiencing stampedes. Example, in Houston, Texas, 10 deaths were seen at a live music concert. In Itaewon, South Korea, 159 people were killed at a Halloween festival. And in Sana'a, Yemen, nearly 90 people died at a charity distribution event. And recently in Nigeria, 35 people died at a religious festival. When it comes to India, in 2024, there was Hatra incident in Uttar Pradesh where more than 30 people are killed. And very recent, in the January month of January itself, 12 people died in Tirupati Tirumala Venkateswara temple, and now 30 people died in largest gathering in the world, which is a record in the history of humankind, that is Mahakumbh at Prayagraj. So these examples illustrate that the crowd disasters happen more often than the people assume. Okay, so what is the role of planners and the governments here? Despite the repeated tragedies, crowd disasters continue due to the inaction by authorities. Okay, the common misconception is that such disasters occur because crowds are out of control. Okay, crowds are out of control, and in reality, scientific research shows that preventing crowd crushes is possible by maintaining safe crowd densities. Okay, so crowd density is a major factor according to the other and the scientific research as well. Event organizers, local governments, and promoters are responsible for ensuring crowd safety, as individuals in the crowd have little ability to control the situation once it turns dangerous. Okay, so you have to be responsible for ensuring the crowd safety before it turns into a dangerous situation itself. So, so there needs to be simple, effective prevention measures, such as it outlines low cost, easy solutions to prevent the crowd disasters. One is increasing the entry and exit points. For example, if this is the place of gathering, normally in Indian conditions, if it is a movie theater, there will be only two exit entries here and there will be two exits from here. Instead of that, we can increase the exits and entry points, increase the entry points into 3 or 4 and exit points to here and there. Okay, so that people can easily move out if there is a certain disasters. Staggering arrival times for large gatherings, keeping main pathways clear of any obstacles to prevent bottlenecks, segmenting crowds into groups to reduce dangerous density. Okay, so one is reducing the density by segmenting the crowd, and other one is the pathway should be made clear out of any obstacles, and after that there should be multiple entry and exit points, and they should be the arrival time should be extended. Okay, people should be allowed to enter into a building or allowed to enter into a gathering at an earlier time itself, so that there is less push. So the article also gives an effective example of crowd control, that is New Year's Eve at the Times Square in New York. Okay, the famous Times Square in New York always sees New Year use every year. So where crowds are divided into 100 persons per sections to prevent surges. Okay, very important. You can use this example to quote in your answers. Okay, New Times Square, New York, New Year celebration. There only 100 persons per sections are allowed to prevent the surges during the emergency. Organizers and economic incentives. The lack of regulations is significant problem. In most countries, no laws require event organizers or the governments to implement safety measures. Many event organizers resist such regulations because they have an economic incentive to maximize ticket, food, and merchandise sales by packing more people into the venues. Okay, so the lack of regulations should be considered here. The Mahakumbh tragedy should serve as a wake-up call for authorities to adopt crowd safety regulations. Even small, inexpensive safety measures can significantly reduce risks while ensuring people can still enjoy large events. So, in conclusion, concludes by warning that unless government takes responsibility and prevent crowd safety measures, such tragedies will continue to occur and lives will keep being lost due to inaction. Okay, so the third article is again an editorial from the Hindu. It talks about what WHO's recommendation for low sodium salt means for India. Okay, so it talks about a new health initiative by the World Health Organization. It has released guidelines recommending the use of lower sodium salt substitutes, which include potassium chloride instead of sodium chloride in a table salt. This follows WHO's recommendation to reduce sodium intake to less than 2 grams per day. Okay, so instead of sodium chloride, you can include potassium chloride in your food intake. That is what WHO has recommended. India, which successfully tackled iodine deficiency through fortified salt, now faces a new challenge, that is reducing salt consumption to lower the risks of hypertension and cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so initially Indians, like there was a deficiency of iodine in our Indian salt. As a result, through fortification, iodine salt was introduced into the salt. As a result, iodine deficiency was relatively successfully dealt by the government. But now a new issue, that is increasing sodium intake, which is leading to hypertension and cardiovascular diseases. So, what is the impact of salt on health? Salt consumption is directly linked to several health issues. That is, sodium causes the body to retain water, increasing blood volume and pressure, which affects the heart. Excess sodium stiffens arteries and makes blood vessels less flexible. Okay, so high sodium intake is associated with hypertension, which can lead to heart attacks, strokes, as well as kidney failure. In India, high salt consumption is a major contributor to cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so that is sodium, it causes the body to retain more water, it increases the blood volume and pressure, which is going to affect the heart. And then excess sodium, it blocks the arteries, which makes the blood vessels more or less flexible, which can lead to hypertension, which can lead to heart attacks, etc., etc. According to World Health Organization, 8 million deaths globally are linked to poor diets, with 1.9 million deaths attributed to high sodium intake in 2013. Okay, so the benefits of lower sodium salt substitutes are LSSS has multiple health benefits as well. One is it reduces blood pressure, lowering the risks of heart disease and stroke. That is, LSSS is replacing the sodium chloride with potassium chloride. Scientific studies published in the British Medical Journal shows that a 4-gram reduction in the salt intake per day leads to lower systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Okay, just a 4-gram reduction in the salt intake is going to have lesser systolic and diastolic blood pressures, and it also lowers the risks of gastric cancer, chronic kidney disease, and other non-communicable diseases. So, what are the challenges in implementing sodium salt substitutes in India? Despite the benefits, there are many challenges in adopting LSSS in India. One is obviously cost factor. That is, LSSS products are more expensive than the regular salt, making them less accessible to general population. And then market availability. That is, some brands in India sell low sodium salt with KCl, that is potassium chloride, but these are not widely available or affordable. And health risks of high potassium intake. WHO cautions against excessive potassium intake, especially for people with kidney disease. Okay, the alternative to sodium, that is potassium, itself has certain negative health implications. Okay, so patients with kidney impairment should consult a doctor before switching to potassium based salt substitutes. So here comes the role of awareness and policy changes. The Low Salt Group, an initiative by Sapiens Health Foundation, is actively raising awareness about excessive salt consumption in India by training 300 physicians nationwide, educating people on public risks associated with salt intake, advocating for government policies to promote low sodium salt alternatives, that is LSSS. Additionally, experts suggest that Indian government and food industry should work together to increase public awareness about benefits of low sodium salt, okay, and ensure wider availability and affordability of low sodium awareness alternatives, as well as introducing clear product labeling to guide the consumers. So moving forward, India should move towards low sodium salt alternatives so that the health impacts of sodium chloride or sodium can be reduced in India. Okay, so very important point. Though there cannot be direct questions on this one, there can be other questions which can be related to this salt intake. Okay, next, Fifth article or fourth article for the day is about Bhashini platform and advanced digital inclusion in India. It was taken up from Press Information Bureau. So, what is Bhashini platform? It is AI powered language translation. So, it is in use because Tripura has become the first state in Northeast India to leverage artificial intelligence for digital inclusion, utilizing advanced text to speech technology under the Bhashan initiative. This move enhances accessibility to digital services in regional languages, breaking language barriers and promoting inclusivity. Okay, so what is Bhashani platform? Bhashini is a short for Bhasha Interface for India. Bhasha is nothing but language. It is an interface for India. It is an artificial intelligence led language translation platform designed to enable seamless communication between speakers of different Indian languages. Okay, so the key objectives and features are, obviously it promotes digital accessibility by integrating voice based functions in Indian languages. That is, if you are from Karnataka and if you want to translate Kannada into English or Kannada into Hindi or Kannada into any North Asian languages, then you can use this Bhashana language. You can provide the input in Kannada, it will translate the Kannada into desired language you wish. Okay. It supports content creation in multiple languages, helping users to access digital services in their native tongues. Launched in July 2022 under the National Language Translation Mission, aiming to provide translation services in 22 scheduled Indian languages, and enhances AI and natural language processing resources for MSMEs, startups, and individual innovations. Okay, so it has a multiple advantages, you can say. So who implements this? It is implemented by Digital India Bhashini division, which is a part of Digital India Corporation under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is MOIT. So how does Bhashini work? It is available on Android and iOS apps. You can go to the Play Store or you can go to iOS apps in your mobile phone and download the Bhashini app. Features a Bhasha Dan section enabling individuals to contribute to crowdsourcing initiatives for language data collection. You can also act as a contributor there. So significance of Bhashini in India, it bridges the digital divide, making technology accessible to non-English speakers, empowers regional language users, promoting multilingual digital communication, boosts innovation by providing open source AI and NLP resources to startups and businesses. So it is a game changer for India's linguistic diversity, ensuring equal access to digital resources. Tripura's adoption of this AI-driven technology highlights India's commitment to digital transformation and inclusivity across all the regions. Okay. So next article, mainly from prelims perspective, it is about Darfur region. So a drone attack on one of the last functioning hospitals in El Fasher in Sudan's Darfur region has killed 67 people and injured dozens recently. So Darfur is present in Sudan. As you can see, this is Sudan. So Sudan is a part of like Great Horn of Africa. It is adjacent to Red Sea. Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and South Sudan, Congo, Chad, and Libya. These are the neighboring countries of Sudan. So Darfur is a region in Sudan where there was a drone attack which led to death of at least 67 people. About Darfur region, it is a region in the western Sudan. It lies between Kordofan in the east and Wadai to the west, extended southward to the Al Ghazal or Ghazal river and northward to the Libyan desert. Okay, it consists of immense rolling plain that has an area of approximately 4,000 square kilometers. The volcanic highlands of the Marra mountains dominate the central part of this plain. It was an independent sultanate annexed by Sudan in 1916. So it was an independent country or sultanate before the annexation by Sudan. The name Darfur is derived from Darfur, meaning the land of fur in Arabic. So population is mainly the Fur type once ruled the Islamic Sultanate of Darfur until the killing in 1916 of the last Sultan of Darfur. It is home to approximately 80 tribes and ethnic groups encompassing both nomadic and sedentary communities. Arabs have long constituted majority of the population in the northern part of Darfur, while Arabs and Fur have predominated in the southern portion. Other ethnic groups have included the Beja, Jagawa, Nubian, and Dazu peoples. Okay, a small topic, but the location, geographical location of the Darfur region becomes very important. Okay, it is present in the northern Africa, but it belongs to Sudan, and it is surrounded by Sudan, South Sudan, CAR, that is Congo, and Libya, Egypt, etc. etc. Then Kara Sea, another important related from the prelims perspective. Okay, amid a rapid expansion of the Russian activities in the Arctic region, a nuclear-powered icebreaker named 50 Let Pobedi, also known as 50 Years of Victory, suffered damage after colliding with cargo vessels in the Kara Sea. Okay, so there are two seas which have like nuclear powered icebreaker, and the seas collided with each other. So that is why it is in news. Okay, first we will see the what is Kara Sea, and then we will come back to the map. Kara Sea, it is a marginal sea of the Arctic Ocean, located in the north of Siberia, Russia. It covers an area of 8,80,000 square kilometers. It has been named after Kara River, which flows into the river. Sorry, it flows into the drains into the ocean. It is situated between Franz Joseph Land and Novaya Zemlya Islands, and the Severnaya Zemlya archipelago in northern Russia. The Kara Strait and Novaya Zemlya archipelago separate the Kara Free from Barents Sea. In the east, Severnaya Zemlya archipelago separates the Kara Sea from Laptev Sea. We will see all these seas in the map. Just I am telling you. In the north, the Kara Sea is also connected to the Arctic Basin. It is regarded as one of the world's coldest seas and remains covered with ice from September to May. Different rivers including Kara, Ob, Paisinia, and Yenisei drain into the Kara Sea. The significant islands that are found here include Bailey, Dixon, Kamenny, Oleni, and Timor. Forgive me for my pronunciation. This is how it is. The Northern Scyloid archipelago, okay, which is composed of more than 90 islands and 5 large island subgroups, is the largest island group in the Kara Sea. Okay, so now we will see the map of Arctic. Okay, so this is Kara Sea. Where is it? Where it is present? It is present in the north of Russia. Like we will come from the clockwise. Next to Kara Sea, it is Barents Sea. After Barents Sea, it is Norwegian Sea. After that, it is Greenland Sea. After that, it is Greenland, and then comes Lincoln Sea, and after that, it is Beaufort Sea. Beaufort Sea is in Canada, like it is connected to Canada and United States. And Chukchi Sea, which is connected by Bering Strait to the Pacific Ocean. So Chukchi Sea is present in connected between like Alaska of United States and Russia. And then East Siberian Sea and Laptev Sea. Okay, so just remember the sequence. Kara Sea is at the northern west of Russia, northeastern of Russia, whereas Chukchi Sea is in northeastern of Russia. Okay, don't confuse it like me. Just see it and read it once again, because many questions have been asked on this one. I think there was a recently in previous prelims there was a question about some of the sea here, maybe Chukchi Sea. So these seas in the Arctic region and the northern European seas, the Norwegian Sea, Greenland Sea, etc., become very important for prelims perspective. So this ends our discussion for the day. If you have any doubts, please write in the comment box, and if you want more videos like this, do write in the comment box on what topic you want the video from. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.